This is the Neurosurgery Podcast.
One of the great things about being here at AANS is you run into notables. Dr. Mike Lawton, welcome back.
Great to see you.
Thanks for supporting our podcast. We know you have a huge social media following. We've talked about a lot of things, but as I was walking around, I saw the Mikata, the microscope booth, where they have all these young people practicing ECIC bypass, or something like that, right? I don't know what it is, but they're sewing little stuff together. And one of the things you're known for is that you are committed to mastery. We've talked about how you and I don't drink coffee because it makes your hand shake and all that. Yeah. Tell us a little about your journey and then how to advise young people who are trying to develop mastery, not competence, mastery.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to unravel like where I am today and where I began, but I just trained with Dr. Spetzler and I saw a master surgeon doing his craft, and when you see something that's inspiring, you just want to imitate. And so for me, a lot of it was just wanting to get to his level, and then in finding that I really enjoyed the process of learning. It's it's a very satisfying thing to use your hands to build something like bypass surgery, which you're asking about. You're creating something from nothing, and when you can develop the skill level to make that happen in front of your eyes and bring that to life, it's really exciting. So I love doing it. When I was a resident, I practiced a lot because it was part of the research project. I needed an animal model. Like today we can tweak genes and we can form AVMs by changing gene expression, but back then we had to sew arteries together, so I loved that. I would spend 2 or 3 days a week in the lab sewing, and it was just one of those kind of flow moments or Zen moments where I loved it.
And it takes decades, right? And I'll tell you how pedestrians we spine surgeons are as Neanderthals. When I have a new resident coming in and I'm like, oh, that you've done better, I'll be like, listen, here's what you're going to do. You're going to go to Home Depot, you're going to get a box of 1,000 nails and a 2x4 and a hammer, and you're going to hammer 1,000 nails into the wood, and then you can come back to my OR, okay?
Yeah.
Right? Now, I'm sure that's not how you train, or at least at the early stages, microvascular surgery or microsurgery. Tell us about some practical steps. What can people do? Do they have to go to the lab?
Well, there's no better simulator than the lab. There's, you can watch videos, which is fun. You can sew, throw stitches in your armchair, which is something I used to do when I was a surgical intern. But there's nothing like going to the lab, and also finding ways in your practice to bring the craft to life. Like just the other day, I was taken out of cavernous malformation and inadvertently had a laceration of an artery. So, there are these things that come up, and when you're ready to deploy your skills, there are always things that you can bring in, and it helps you get better. And
tell me about is there like a chicken wing model?
Oh, there's every model.
Tell us some models.
First of all, there's the silastic tubes. There's chicken wings.
What are you sewing in the wing?
So in the wing, if you go along the bone of the wing, it would be the equivalent of the humerus.
Okay.
The artery runs right along there. You fish it out of there, and then you can kind of loop it on itself, do an end to side. You can loop it on itself, do a side to side. You can cut it and sew it back together for an end to end. So you just do all the permutations.
I've eaten chicken wings, and those vessels are about like a millimeter or two, maybe a couple millimeters in diameter, right?
It's like dental floss. It's
okay. So it's similar to like a small vessel in the brain, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But okay, so there's chicken wings. There's placentas.
Placenta.
One of the great things in our hospital, we have tons of placentas.
Human placenta.
Human placenta from the maternity ward. And
they don't act weird when you ask for placenta? It's like a witchcraft thing?
I never asked, but Mark Pruill, my guy,
Pruill will ask, okay.
He will ask, and he'll pull out a bucket of placentas, and you can dissect the veins, dissect the arteries, you can sew them together.
Really?
And so that's a good model. The rat model is the best. So when I was doing my lab experiments for that research year, it was on rat carotids, carotid jugular. So you got live artery tissue, you got vein tissue, and it's the look and feel of an STA or an MCA.
Wow. Now, one of the things, like if you talk to, we had a theme here at the meeting, and Spine at least, with the Reg Hayes Symposium about Tier 1 operators.
Yeah.
And when you talk to these people that are like Apache helicopter pilots or jet fighter pilots, F-22, F-35 pilots, they'll tell you that a lot of their training is not just the flying and simulation, but it's also the maintenance of the body. In other words, they need to be cardiovascularly fit, they need to have stamina, they need to have stability, their brain needs to be able to handle G-force. What are the things a young, budding, wannabe neurosurgeon would do besides the practice of the hands to enhance their ability to perform in the operating room?
That's everything. You hit the nail on the head. It's people watch master surgeons and they watch them move, but it's the mental preparation. Like for a big case, I will ruminate over that case. We review films the day before because I never want to be like just coming in cold to a case. So I'll see the films. The brain processes and does all that consolidation in sleep.
In sleep, yes, in sleep.
So when you stimulate your thought process and you start consolidating that night before, it's really helpful. And then before I step into the OR, somebody asked me the other day, like, we never see you put films on the light board or go to the computer.
Right.
Well, it's because before I even get there, I've studied those films and I've thought through, or I've studied all the nuance, but also thought through things that could go wrong. I think part of that, like Apache training, is right. Well, if my engine goes down, how am I going to land this thing in the Hudson River?
Yeah,
it's that mentality of thinking ahead, so that when it happens, you're reacting.
I tell the fellows, if you're not dreaming about the specific surgeries you're doing beforehand, hopefully not after, then you're not caring enough about what you're doing. And I mean that. I mean, my wife will always tell me, I can tell when you're dreaming about the surgeries because you act differently if you have a tough case coming up. So talk me through it. Now, you've done 15,000 surgeries on the brain, so are you able to just like look at the films and then you visualize it, or do you meditate, or do you actually spend time at the computer beforehand and look at it, three-dimensional models? Like what's the Michael Lawton process?
So I look at the films. Every case is different, and I'll just give you one example. So last week I did an interventricular AVM, and it was a big one, and it was a young guy, and he's very smart and important, and so it struck a nerve in me, and I could. My surgeon's intuition went off. It's like it made me concerned about his outcome. It made me concerned about his pathology because it was significant. It was in an odd location. So when I feel those internal alarm bells going off, it's like, okay, I've got to prepare for this one. Something is not routine here, and it stimulates you to study the angiogram, look at the question your approach. Think about what sorts of adjuncts might be helpful, and I think learning to listen is an important skill, because then you know that you've got to invest a little bit more of your thought process. And even after 1,200 AVM resections, cases like that come along and they get you thinking, they get you feeling.
You almost can't prepare too much, right?
You can never prepare too much, and you should never be complacent, because if you are complacent and you just walk into the next case without doing that preparation, then you get egg on your face.
So, have you ever seen that movie Rush, the Ron Howard film about Formula One racers?
Yes.
And there's two characters. It's a true story,
yeah,
right?
That's right.
About Niki Lauda, played by Daniel Bruhl, and then there's Ethan Hunt, played by Thor, Helmsworth.
Yeah, Helmsworth.
Right, and they're so different, right?
Right.
Like Daniel Bruhl, like the Niki Lauda character, walks the track. He's super disciplined. He's all about the math, the physics, preparation. And Ethan Hunt is out whoring and drinking all night, doing what he does, right? To me, it's like the ultimate neurosurgical dichotomy, right? We're kind of both of those things, right?
Yeah, I thought you were going to ask me which one.
Which I was going to ask you which one. You look like the Ethan Hunt character, but I feel like you're more like the Daniel Bruhl character.
I think you become both. Like, you can't become the swaggering, nonchalant, Hemsworth character without being first the other guy. Like, you have to, like, I'm a student of neurosurgery, like writing the books, doing all the papers, all of that is just me walking the track.
But it looks so easy. I see all the students following around. I'm sure all they see is the final product. Mike Lawton makes it look so easy. But it wasn't like that.
No, it's funny, it's like magic. When you look at magicians who do their tricks, they've thought through how to do the sleight of hand or how to create the illusion. And it's the same with surgery. You've got to think through how you're going to get from this pathologic state to a cure and not hurt the patient in the process. And that's this incredible amount of investment of thought, creativity, ingenuity, getting the right tools, getting the right strategy, knowing the anatomy, reviewing your mistakes from the last 10 cases, whatever that is. I do that, and I actually enjoy it because it's what makes it super interesting.
Well, Dr.
you're always
Lawton,
learning.
I mean, you're so generous to share some of your secrets, so they're closing up now. So you're so generous, and if there's a run on chicken wings at the supermarket, we'll know what happened.
Well, you can always go turkey wings.
We go turkey wings, but they're bigger vessels, right?
Right.
Start with the turkey.
Right.
Well, thank you for being generous with your time. Thank you for supporting our podcast. What you do for neurosurgeons is amazing.
Well, your podcast is also amazing. I love listening, and you're the best.